welcome to Win Over Depression. I am your host, Tamara Trotter. We encourage you to subscribe to our podcast, Win Over Depression. Please subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Google Play. We also encourage you to leave a comment. Talk about how this podcast has inspired you, how you have learned ways to deal with your mental illness, because something that you say can definitely encourage someone else. Thank you so much. I appreciate anything that you can do to help us continue to spread the importance of dealing with your mental health on a consistent and regular basis. Today, we will be dropping some nuggets from our previous episodes and talking to you about ways that you can determine the progress that you are making in dealing with your mental illness. I want you to really give yourself credit, because even if the symptoms that you have been experiencing have subsided for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that's progress. It is a start. And we want to build upon that every single day. You know, a way to deal with your depression is through self-talk. You should never underestimate your ability to handle adversity in your life. Tough and difficult times will inevitably present themselves, but you will realize that you are much stronger than you think when you are actually going through the fire and figuring it out. The key to coping is deciding in advance how you plan to react. No matter what may happen, you must stand on this fact that nothing lasts forever, and whatever is going on, it too shall pass. All of the disappointment, uncertainty, poor choices, and decisions have been in preparation for your masterpiece testimony. Take a moment to think about all of the situations you have found yourself in, especially the ones that seemed impossible to solve, many of which were situations that came to you from other people coming to you, asking you to help them with what's going on in their lives. They may not have been solved to your complete satisfaction, but nevertheless, you are still here, and that is definitely something to celebrate. You more than likely grew from the experience and learned a valuable lesson. You must give yourself more credit and meditate more on the trials and tribulations that you have overcome rather than lament over the ones that you feel were failures. Because when we fail, we will ultimately succeed. Talk to your depression daily and let it know that it will have no dominion nor power in your life. There is no time to be sad or have the disease of depression looming over you. And you may ask, how can I possibly not be sad when one of the main symptoms of depression is sadness? Well, what I'm asking and encouraging you to do is the moment that the sadness fills your spirit, think about the joy that you once had in your life and go back to that moment so that you can erase the sadness that is coming over your life at that particular time. We want to shut down that sad emotion and replace it with something else. Get on with living your life on purpose and with the utmost intention. You are more than a conqueror, and your fight is as strong as ever. And that is why every day we must remember that giving up is never an option. So let's talk about that for a moment. When we say that giving up is never an option, we're really not saying that everything has to be going great all the time, because that's not realistic. Because you may have many setbacks on any given day, multiple times a day, possibly. But what we're saying is that we still, despite how we're feeling and what's going on during our day, is knowing that the outcome is to never give up. The expectation is to keep going. The idea is to push through. What we're striving for is small increments of change. What we're looking for is the ability to say, I am feeling better and better as each and every day passes. And even though on some days I'm just not at my best, I know that I have another opportunity the next day to try again. And I will never throw in the towel. Because once we throw in the towel, we have told ourselves that we will stop progressing, and our actions and our thoughts will follow through with that exact sentiment. And what will happen is you will see yourself in a downward spiral and feel as though you are sinking in quicksand. You know, when someone is swimming and they get tired and they decide to tread water because they have to stay above the water in order to not sink. We have to continue treading water to keep ourselves above the surface. It's because when we tread water, we are making progress, we're moving forward, we're showing that our actions are positive and that we are planning on making it through. But when we stop treading water, we start to sink. And that is similar to what our depression looks like. If we continue to go and take a deep dive, it would be very difficult for us to get back to the surface. So think about dealing with your depression every single day as treading water to stay above the water. And sometimes you'll feel as if you're treading water, but as you continue to grow and become stronger, you will stop treading water and you will be able to float and to swim. So if this is a day when you are treading water, it's something positive. So continue doing what you're doing, knowing that sooner or later you will be floating or swimming. I want to talk a moment about what it looks like when we are again making progress. Because if you have suffered from a mental illness for several years, and that is the life that you have been living, you are really wanting to turn that around and start living better. But the reality is it's not going to happen overnight because you have been depressed for a long period of time. So it's basically like learning something new, recognizing the symptoms of depression, and then taking action to combat that feeling. Because oftentimes we feel as though we will always be depressed, and therefore we stop trying to improve ourselves. But we have to believe that life can and will get better for us. So I'm going to ask you this question. Do you believe that you can feel better, that your symptoms can subside, that you can have more good days than challenging days? because that's really the whole point of being proactive, is our self-talk and what we think about our situation. And so many times I have talked about a total shift in our thinking. And that is what it is going to take in order for you to feel better. You have to get up every day with a positive mindset. So you get up, you get out of bed, you open the blinds so that any sun or light can come into the room. And then you think about your day, what you have to accomplish. You maybe listen to some upbeat music, and you start thinking positively about what that day will bring. And once you do that, you have to continue to expound upon that every single day. And this is why it is so important to have at least 2 goals that you set for yourself every single day. And the goals do not have to be complex. They can be simple, because sometimes when we set goals for ourselves that are very hard to accomplish, we give up before we get started. So what do I mean by a simple goal? One goal can be to get up and make your bed. Another goal can be to empty the dishwasher. So those are 2 goals that you have accomplished in a short period of time. And once you accomplish those 2 goals, you will feel motivated to continue going on. Maybe a goal for you could be to take a shower. Many people who suffer with a mental illness do not take a shower because they do not feel like it. But when you take a shower, it gives you a sense of renewal. When the water is pouring down on your face and it's nice and warm, it's helping to wake you up. It's giving some energy to you. And that is one thing that if you can do that every single day, you are going to start feeling better. So take your shower. Even if you take your shower and put pajamas back on, that's fine. But definitely take a shower and think of it as washing off the previous depression that you were experiencing. So now that you are clean, you have a fresh start and you can look forward to a new day that is better than the day before. So I'd like for you, for your homework, to write down what are the 2 goals, minimum of 2, that you are going to set for yourself on a daily basis. And if you are able to multiply those goals and achieve even more, definitely do it. Because the idea here is to build momentum. Because when you build momentum, you start to feel better. Your brain becomes awake and you start thinking about some of the things that you know you need to do, but you haven't felt like doing. And once you start to do some of the things that you have not wanted to do, you will start feeling better. It can be something simple as cleaning up your kitchen, because maybe for the past few days, you have looked in the kitchen, it has been in disarray, and you just haven't had the energy to clean it up. But once you do, and after you've cleaned it up and you walk by again and you see that it is now clean, it makes you feel better. So I don't want you to overthink the goals that you set for yourself, because we want to start small and then build our way up from there. So I hope that this podcast episode has given you some insight into what you can do on a daily basis to reprogram your mind to know that, hey, we are going to start feeling better. And definitely, if you don't put your pajamas back on, put on some nice clothes and maybe go outside and just smell the air. Maybe just go outside and see what a pretty day it is. When we are isolated inside, we oftentimes don't take advantage of how important it is for us to get 15 minutes of sunlight every single day. So you getting up, taking a shower, going outside, getting some fresh air, walking to your mailbox, taking a few steps around your neighborhood is going to energize you. So what will you do in order to accomplish the goals that you have set for yourself on a daily basis? My friend, I know that you can do it. So go ahead and tell me in the chat, what goals specifically have you set for yourself, and what exactly did you do, and how did it make you feel? I never want to end my podcast without thanking you so very much for listening. As I always say, we continue to grow by leaps and bounds, and I am so excited about expanding this message even further. I want to bring to your attention several episodes that are 7 minutes in length, and they are 7 minutes of encouragement, 7 minutes of focus, 7 minutes of action. What is holding you back? 7 minutes of inspiration, 7 minutes of pushing yourself to thrive, 7 minutes of follow through, 7 minutes of being intentional, 7 minutes of motivation, and finally, 7 minutes of potential. I encourage you to go back and listen to the episode series of 7 minutes, because 7 minutes is enough time to inspire you, and 7 minutes is the number for completion. So go back, listen to the homework for the 7-minute series, and again, tell me in the show notes and in the comments, how are you benefiting from this podcast? How are you benefiting from the homework that is given? And if you'd like to send me a personal email, you can reach me at Tamara, that's Tamera, at winoverdepression.org. Again, that's Tamara at winoverdepression.org. Remember, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Tamara Trotter. You can also join my Facebook group called Win Over Depression. You can like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, also called Win Over Depression. And you can find me on Pinterest at TT Mental Health Expert. In addition, you can go to my website, www.winoverdepression.org. There are hundreds of positive, inspirational messages just for you, my friend. So please share this podcast with someone else. And if you would like to be a patron of this podcast, you can go to www.patreon.com. That's patreon.com. And you can support this podcast with a $5 to $10 donation to help us continue to upgrade our equipment and be able to advertise to even more platforms. Thank you so much, and I will see you next Friday on Win Over Depression. This concludes our episode 88. Take care, my friend.